So you're in the market shopping around for a productivity-focused mouse. What does that even mean? Well, think about it this way. If you spend most of your day staring at a screen working on presentations, writing code, editing videos, working on e-commerce materials, or anything productive, you want to make sure you have the right tools to enhance that experience when you're navigating within the operating system. Time is money, and if you can find ways to save it, the better. So in this video, I've gathered some of the most popular wireless mice that are strictly geared towards productivity. And I repeat, productivity and not gaming. Some of them have a few tricks up their sleeve that is certainly worth checking out. But as always, I'll talk about comfort, design, build quality, features, and wireless performance that comes tied to each individual product. And most importantly, price. Now, what do we have over here? Well, I'm going to start with the least expensive option out of this roundup and slowly make my way up. Say hello to the Amazon Basics standard wireless mouse that's priced at $10. Now, this is available in whatever color that suits your setup, like blue, purple, red, and silver. And guys, this thing is as basic as it comes. It weighs less than 150 grams with a single AA battery that comes included in the box. And the weight distribution isn't equal because of where they put the battery compartment. And that space also has a storage for a wireless receiver, which is really neat. The design is all about basic functions and cost savings, so the build quality isn't really the greatest. Mine came with a small rattle from the scroll wheel, and a lot of users have reported longer-term issues like the switches being stuck, the scroll wheel losing its integrity, and terrible cursor lag. On the other hand, there are plenty of other folks who absolutely love this thing and haven't reported any problems, so that points towards quality being a bit of a game of Russian roulette. Now, unfortunately, this isn't an ambidextrous body, and people with larger hands like myself will probably hate this during longer work sessions. For my comfort, claw grip was the way to go, and I do appreciate the contoured area where your thumb sits. The texture really gives you a good sense of grip, plus the curved frame on the right-hand side allows you to easily rest your ring finger. Honestly, for a $10 mouse, the ergonomics are really good. There are 5 buttons in total that feel like every other cheap mouse on the market, so it's a combination of mushy and tactile, and I feel like they need a little bit more force to register. And then there's the DPI shift button located right above the scroll wheel that cycles between these 5 DPI levels, up to 3600 to be more precise. My comfort range was around 1600. The scroll wheel is okay. It certainly lacks definition, but that's what you get for a $10 mouse. Next up, we have the Amazon Basics full-size ergonomic wireless mouse that you can pick up for around $30. And yes, this looks like a knockoff of the Logitech Performance MX mouse that was launched years ago, but it doesn't come anywhere near Logitech's quality. The plastic frame feels way too flimsy, the scroll wheel makes just a lot of noise, and for me, after just a few days of light use, mine actually somehow managed to have a bunch of scratches all around the body. Portability is a bit of a challenge too, since it weighs over 150 grams with the 2 AA batteries that come inside the box. And yes, just like the smaller version, the weight distribution is pretty uneven. But on the positive side, there is a place to store the wireless receiver. But I have to warn you that getting access to it is a complete pain in the butt. It's literally stuck in place, and you'll technically just need like a flathead screwdriver or just anything flat to pry it open. It's just really hard. I give up. But there's a few really nice touches here, especially when you consider the low price compared to some of the other mice that I have over here. The battery indicator is a really nice addition, and the ergonomics are well designed, so I can comfortably rest my palm at the top. The thumb rest is nice and textured for a good grip. And when it comes to the buttons, well, there's a lot of them, 7 in total, but I had some issues. So right next to the thumb rest, there is a button to launch the Windows Start menu, but Mac users take note that it won't start the Launchpad on macOS. There's also a zoom button right above the thumb rest that honestly didn't work on my sample at all, so I don't understand the point of it anyway. Even with larger hands like mine, getting access to the forward and backward buttons was a bit of a stretch because of their odd positioning, and they also make weird springy noises when you actuate them. Speaking of noises, the scroll wheel just makes a lot of rattling noise. The primary left and right buttons are clicky, and they require a decent amount of force to actuate. Just take note that the button sitting next to the scroll wheel is not a DPI shift button, but it's actually something that enables fast scrolling, which is actually pretty useful when you're working in Excel or when you're browsing through lines of code, or even just casually browsing the web. So if you spend hours sitting in front of a screen, and if you're looking for a comfortable and affordable solution with a ton of buttons, this will get the job done, as long as you're okay with some sacrifices. And now I want to take this time to appreciate you guys for checking out today's video sponsor. Good people, I spend the majority of my time brainstorming ideas, editing videos, and even gaming here at the studio. And I've been meaning to add some personality to my setup. I'm into cars, I love abstract art, and Iron Man is my favorite superhero. So how can I express my passion for these things? Well, meet Displayed. It's a high-quality metal poster that can easily be mounted to a wall using the included magnets. You can browse through millions of licensed designs to suit your setup. As you can see, I picked up exactly what I loved, and it looks incredible. Click the link below to get a special discount if you're interested. All right, so next up we have the Microsoft mobile mouse. It's priced around $35, but these days you can pick it up for around $20. And you can already tell how it fuses form and functionality. The design certainly makes a statement with its boxy and unorthodox setup compared to a traditional wireless mouse, but believe it or not, it's actually one of the most highly weighted mice on Amazon. It's super lightweight, coming in at around 78 grams with the 2 AAA batteries pre-installed. The weight distribution is perfect considering how they've placed the batteries inside the body. You can pick this up in a variety of colors like black, white, pastel blue, ice blue, poppy red, mint, and this peach color that I have over here. I just love the low profile nature of this body, so it's easy to travel with, and the build quality is superb. There were no signs of creaking or rattling noises, and the scroll wheel is really nicely defined. Again, nothing to complain here. And if you look at the bottom, everything is easily accessible, like the batteries, which only require you to press down on the cover, and then it pops off easily and it's held by magnets, and it's well integrated. Now, this mouse only works over Bluetooth, so there is a button that allows you to pair that to a single device at a time by holding it for a few seconds. Keep in mind that this also functions as a power switch. All you have to do is press it once and it powers off so that you can save on battery. I think this is geared towards a claw grip style setup, and given this unique body shape, I was surprised by how comfortable it felt in my hand. My thumb, ring, and pinky fingers were easily able to adapt to the shape, and it's a completely different vibe compared to the Amazon Basics mice. And it's ambidextrous too, so left-hand users will have no problem using this thing. Now, some of the drawbacks of this mobile mouse is they don't feature any dedicated forward or backward buttons, which naturally leads to no gesture controls when you're navigating within the operating system. The primary left and right clicks require a lot of pressure to actuate. In fact, it's actually the worst among the other mice that I have in this roundup. But on the positive side, the scroll wheel is well defined and it works really well. It's smooth to work with. I think what Microsoft has really done here is taken the basics of a 2-button mouse, refined the build quality, given it a fresh new design, and just have something that's a simple plug-and-play solution, which also doesn't happen to break the bank. Moving on, we have the Logitech MX Anywhere 2S that takes things up a notch. It still falls under that compact, travel-friendly category, and it's priced at $60, but you can pick it up for around $50 right now. I know what some of you guys might be thinking. Why not choose the MX Anywhere 3 that's slightly newer and refined? Well, technically, you're right. It's a better mouse, but this one's actually way more popular, a lot cheaper compared to the 3, and you're essentially getting 90% of that mouse anyway, which is why I decided to include it in this roundup. The design of the 2S is very simple. They mostly kept it low profile while also giving users superior control. It weighs around 106 grams and the weight distribution is perfect. Remember that this mouse has an internal rechargeable battery that can be juiced up via the micro USB port at the front. Keep note that the MX Anywhere 3 features a Type-C connector that's more convenient these days. This is an ambidextrous body, so it's perfect for both left and right-hand users, and it's meant to be used in a claw grip style setup if you have really large hands like I do. The rubberized texture on both sides provides good grip for your thumb, ring, and pinky fingers. I actually really like what they've done with the design here. It looks very unique compared to the rest of the mice that I have over here in the roundup, minus the Microsoft mobile mouse. There are 7 programmable buttons on the 2S, so we have the forward and backward buttons that are easy to get to. It doesn't feel cheap, but rather satisfying and quiet. The primary left and right buttons are nice and tactile. They don't require a lot of force to actuate, and there is a gesture button that's next to the scroll wheel that can be used to control literally anything on your PC, like media playback controls, Windows management, zooming, app navigation. Seriously, you can go to town with customization on the 2S with Logitech's Options software. The scroll wheel is nicely defined and tactile. It also acts as a left and right button, which can also be remapped to any command of your choice. Now, this thing pairs to your computer via the included unifying receiver, but that's not all. It can also work over Bluetooth, and you can pair up to 3 devices at the same time. And you can switch between them seamlessly by pressing this button right over here. It also gets Logitech's flow feature, which basically directs the cursor from one system to the next. Honestly, it's pretty amazing, and if you're working with multiple systems at the same time, this will certainly come in clutch. Build quality is really good. Everything is put together really well, and I didn't notice any signs of creaking other than the slight rattle from the scroll wheel, but that's due to the left and right clicks that are integrated anyway. I've read a lot of reviews of people raving about the build quality of this mouse over extensive reviews, so I think this would be an excellent and reliable long-term investment. That is, if you're looking for a compact and portable productivity-focused mouse. Next up, we have the Razer Pro Click Mini, priced at $80. Now, this is Razer's entry-level mouse into the productivity lineup that directly competes with the MX Anywhere 3 from Logitech, since they're priced exactly the same. Now, I've done a separate video covering this mouse a little bit in detail, which you can check out right over here. But in a nutshell, this essentially offers that same compact, low-profile nature of the MX Anywhere series from Logitech. It only comes in white, and it's ambidextrous. It's a little bit heavier than the MX Anywhere 2S, coming in at 111 grams, but that's because there are two AA batteries installed. You can also run the Pro Click Mini with a single battery, but that's going to affect the weight distribution, so keep that in mind. Now, accessing the battery compartment is very straightforward. All you have to do is just pop open this top cover and boom, you've got instant access to those two batteries. Razer has also conveniently placed a storage compartment for the wireless receiver, so that's a bonus, and it's something that the MX Anywhere 3 or Anywhere 2S lacks. This is mostly used in a claw grip style setup, and the rubberized textures on both sides complement the grip for better control. There are 7 programmable buttons on the Mini. The forward and backward buttons are easy to reach. They feel somewhat mushy, but also tactile, and I don't mind it. The primary left and right buttons feature Razer's silent switches, and this is the real deal if you're looking for a silent experience. They've added a free spin mode, which lets the scroll wheel spin in freestyle, depending on how much force you apply. So that's really useful when you're working with Excel, or longer documents, or even lines of code. But the switch next to it triggers the scroll steps mode, and they're well defined. It also features a tilt function, which I'm sure will come in useful for certain situations or certain applications. Honestly, it's not as good as Logitech's max speed system that's found on the MX Anywhere 3, so that's just something to take into account because the scroll wheel is just so well built, it's refined, and it just feels more premium. Now, build quality on this Mini is really good. I've had this thing for months and it's still going strong. The white plastic shell has held up pretty well from getting scratches or just any stains, so that's certainly a good sign for long-term use. Now, its bigger brother, the Pro Click, is targeted towards people who prefer a full-size ergonomic solution. It's priced at $100, which I think is a bit too steep considering the features that you get, and when you compare it to something like the MX Master 3S from Logitech. Now, Razer did team up with Humanscale to design this mouse, and the end result is one of the most comfortable mice that you can get for productivity. For starters, it's not ambidextrous. Surprisingly, it weighs less than the Pro Click Mini. We're talking like 4 grams worth of difference, but that's due to the internal rechargeable battery, which can be juiced up via the micro USB connector. Now, I don't understand why Razer chose this over USB Type-C, since it's a fairly new mouse on the market, and that's something, USB Type-C is just a common connector these days. The weight distribution is perfect, and I do like the simple and straightforward design. You can only pick this up in white, so make sure your keyboard or the rest of the setup complements this color if you're looking for that uniform look. Now, this does come with a 2.4 gigahertz wireless receiver, and there's a built-in compartment to store that at the bottom. You could also switch over to Bluetooth mode, since this can pair up to 4 devices at the same time, which is kind of neat. You can actually reset the connection by holding down this button right over here. Build quality is excellent. You can certainly tell the difference between this and the Amazon Basics ergonomic mouse because Razer has certainly used premium materials to construct the body. They've also added rubberized textures on the sides to perfect the grip when you're holding the mouse. There are 8 programmable buttons on the Pro Click. The forward and backward buttons are quick and easy to get to. They have good tactile feedback. The primary left and right buttons feature Razer's clicky switches, so that's the complete opposite of the silent switches found on the Mini. The scroll wheel is solid, the scroll steps are well defined. Unfortunately, it does not feature the free spin mode that's found on the Mini. The button sitting next to it cycles between different DPI levels, and there is a status indicator integrated as well. Now, the Logitech MX Master 3S is the direct competitor to the Pro Click Mini from Razer, and it has a boatload of features compared to that mouse, since it's also priced at $100. Now, I've covered this mouse in detail on a separate video, which you can check out right over here, along with the MX Mechanical that was recently announced. But in my opinion, I think $100 is best spent on this over the Pro Click. Let me explain. First up, it's a bigger and heavier mouse, which personally fits my style. It's more comfortable to hold as well, since the thumb rest is extended and it prevents your thumb from making contact with the mouse pad. I also love the rubberized texture around the body, which gives you a better sense of grip when you're navigating within the OS. Build quality is superb. I've been using the predecessor, the Master 3, for 3 years straight, and it's still going strong. The 3S charges via USB Type-C and it pairs to your computer via the Bolt receiver, but you can also use this over Bluetooth and pair up to 3 devices at the same time. Now, unlike the Pro Click, the 3S does not have a compartment to store the receiver, so if you're looking to travel with it, just keep an eye out for that. Now let's talk buttons, because you get a lot with the 3S. First up, there's a gesture button by the thumb rest that can be used to launch mission control, or in Windows, enable Windows navigation. Holding that button down and moving it left or right switches between desktops. Moving it up and down can increase or decrease the volume, and you can do a million other things. The forward and backward buttons are easily accessible, and they have a very satisfying tactile smooth feel, which is just awesome. The primary left and right buttons feature silent switches, and if that's something that you're looking for, like a quieter experience, this should be on the top of your list. The max speed scroll wheel is a game changer because you can use this to scroll through long documents, web pages, all sorts of things. And the button sitting next to it switches between ratchet mode and of course that free spin mode that I talked about earlier. In addition, there is a horizontal scroll wheel, which is by far my favorite feature. I could use this to shift between tabs on Chrome or Safari, or navigating within the timeline in DaVinci Resolve, or even use it to adjust the brush size within Photoshop, which, by the way, now works on my MacBook Pro with the M1 Pro chip. Now, all the customization and profiles can be loaded onto the 3S using Logitech's Options Plus software. It's by far the best UI that I've come across for a wireless mouse. Last up, we have the ASUS ProArt MD300 mouse. Now, if you thought paying $100 for a mouse was way too much, hold that thought, because this thing costs $180. That's right, $180 US. So what exactly does it bring to the table? Well, let's start with the design. It's mostly an all matte black shell that's not ambidextrous. It weighs lighter than the Master 3S, and the weight distribution is even. Build quality is on par with the 3S. There are no signs of creaking or rattling, and that should be expected considering the price. Comfort-wise, I had no issues wrapping my hands around the shell. I will say that the thumb rest is a bit shorter compared to the 3S, so your thumb most likely would make contact with the mouse pad, so just keep that in mind. Plus, there are no rubberized textures on the sidewalls to give you a better grip when you're using this thing, which is really, really disappointing. Now, this mouse does charge over USB Type-C, and it pairs to your computer either through the included 2.4 GHz wireless receiver or Bluetooth. Up to 3 devices are supported, and there's a hidden compartment to store the receiver, and it's easier to access, unlike the 3S. Bonus points to ASUS for that implementation. But the real deal comes with the ASUS dial located on the left-hand side of the mouse. Now, this is a signature feature that's common among the ProArt laptops from ASUS, and they've essentially brought it over to a productivity-focused mouse. So this dial is built really, really well, with a very smooth shaft and a tactile button at the center that you can use to switch between different tasks. For example, in Photoshop, you can click the middle button and cycle between brush size and brush hardness adjustments, and they can be done on the fly, which is really nice. But what's even cool is when you hop into Lightroom Classic, you can adjust the contrast, exposure, black and white levels, shadows, and highlights. So all the basic adjustments required for a raw image can be done using the dial. It's freaking cool. It's precise, and if you're a photographer editing photos on Lightroom, this is certainly going to come in clutch. Unfortunately, the dial only supports Adobe applications, so there's no Microsoft support, no DaVinci Resolve support, nor Google Chrome, or even any other creative applications that the Master 3S supports. So keep that in mind. Now, what I found really confusing about this mouse is that horizontal scroll wheel, because by default, this scrolls up and down, which the primary scroll wheel already does, so I don't understand why it's already there in the first place. But you can actually remap it to launch a bunch of other commands, whether if it's multimedia or Windows-based. Now, the problem is that it gets unresponsive with switching apps, and the options that they have make absolutely no sense. Like, who would want to use the scroll wheel to open File Explorer? I just feel like ASUS threw a bunch of commands at the wall to see which one would stick, and that's just something that I was not expecting for a $180 mouse. My recommendation is just to leave it as media controls to adjust volume and just calling it a day. What's even worse is that this mouse with the ASUS dial and all the customizability that I talked about only works with Windows. So there's no Mac support whatsoever. And that to me is absolutely unacceptable. Not to mention, this mouse requires Armoury Crate and the ProArt Creator Hub app to function, and applying certain profiles just takes 5 seconds to apply, which is long. There's just a lot of work that needs to be done on the software side to refine things. I just feel like it's still half-baked. Now, the last thing I want to cover with all these mice here is their respective wireless performance and battery life. Now I'm going to start with the basic Amazon $10 mouse and the $30 ergonomic mouse, since they both share the same sensor. Now I would keep your expectations low because from my testing, there was a lot of cursor acceleration, so I wouldn't rely on it for workflows that require precision. The ergonomic mouse was unresponsive a few times during my usage. Now, I can't comment on battery life for both of these mice since they're still going strong after a few weeks of testing them, and they are powered by AA batteries, so you can always swap them out for another one. It's just not a sustainable method. The Microsoft mobile mouse surprised me by a long shot, guys. The sensor performance was really good over Bluetooth with very minimal cursor acceleration and little to no liftoff tracking, so that's awesome. This is an excellent solution if you're looking for that compact and reliable wireless mouse that won't cost you a ton of money. Again, can't comment on battery life since it's rated for up to 12 months with regular use, and I've only been using it for a few weeks. Now, a lot of people who've been using this for a while have validated that it lasts for months. Just make sure that you turn it off by pressing this button over here to preserve battery life. The MX Anywhere 2S takes things to a whole new level. The dark field sensor is Logitech's signature features on the MX lineup, and it pretty much tracks on any surface, including glass. The wireless performance is very responsive with precise tracking, so if that's what you're looking for, this will get the job done. Battery life is rated for up to 70 days on a full charge, which is less than the options that I discussed earlier, but you have to remember that it only features a 500 milliampere battery, and it's mostly software focused or software driven with all the features that I just talked about. Honestly, for $50 to $60, this is the best bang for the buck productivity-focused mouse that you can buy. The Razer Pro Click Mini and the regular version share the exact same optical sensor, and the wireless performance is very responsive. I had consistent and precise tracking experience, and it's a huge step up compared to the Amazon Basics offerings, but you already knew that considering the massive price difference. Battery life, on the other hand, is really interesting. The Mini can last for up to 30 days over Bluetooth and around 20 days when you use it with the 2.4 gigahertz receiver. Now that's not super impressive, especially when you consider that you have to constantly replace those two AA batteries inside, which also questions the sustainability factor. Now, sure, you can get rechargeable batteries, but that's an additional investment. So keep that in mind. The Pro Click, on the other hand, only lasts for about 16 days over Bluetooth and up to 8 days over 2.4G. That to me is way too low. And while you can recharge it over the cable that comes in the box or even use it in wired mode, for the price, I would skip this and just get the MX Master 3S because this one lasts for up to 70 days on a full charge and it features fast charge technology. So you can get about 3 hours of use with just a minute of charging. Now, the wireless performance on this thing is just incredible. It shares the same dark field technology from the MX Anywhere 2S mouse, but now it can go up to 8,000 DPI, which is just marketing fluff. But regardless, I've been using this day in and day out to get a ton of work done, and honestly, there's just nothing that I can complain about it. Finally, we have the ProArt MD300. Now, this features an optical sensor and it performs really well. I had no issues with tracking or making precise adjustments when editing videos and photos. The Bluetooth performance was pretty good, but it's not as responsive compared to the 2.4G. If you're using this thing with a desktop, please stick to 2.4G because I've had the worst luck with Bluetooth. Battery life is surprisingly rated to last for up to 150 days, which is 2 times more than the Master 3S. But would I spend $180 on this thing? Absolutely, positively not. So that pretty much concludes this roundup video, guys. I hope you guys were able to take away something from this video. Now, if I were to pick my top favorites, it would go as follows. The Microsoft mobile mouse. This would be my go-to for travel. And then I would probably end up getting, or probably just stick to the Master 3S from Logitech because I just love the shape, the features and everything. It's just easy to use. Love this thing. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this roundup in the comments. If there's something that I missed out, obviously it's very difficult to cover a lot of mice in a single video. So yeah, on that note, thank you so much for watching. I think I've said that like a lot of times, but I will catch you guys in the next one. Oh, and spend responsibly.